Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Go Fight Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and we're here. We're one day away from the NBA Finals. We got the team that has been the best team all year in the Boston Celtics, and then they're playing against a team that arguably has the best player in the game in Luka Doncic in the Dallas Mavericks. And yeah, I mean, both teams got here. Pretty much the Celtics, they got here because of how great their starting five was. How great their starting five was all year of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White. Now they get Kristaps Porzingis back. They traded for Drew Holiday, and then the Mavericks. They've got here pretty much from all the trades they've made. They made the trade last year. They made the trade last year to get Kyrie Irving. They made the trade to get PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. So we should have a really, really good matchup between these two teams. We got arguably the best player against the best team. So this should be a great matchup in the NBA Finals. Yeah, it should.
Luka, Kyrie, those two been two of the most clutch players so far in the NBA Finals. And yeah, Dallas went out, in the middle of February, got better. You mentioned getting PJ Watt, Daniel Gafford. They got a step better, Derek Lively. Because last year their defense was so bad. And obviously they drafted Derek Lively. And they've really made a much bigger impact this year on their defensive end because they couldn't stop anybody last year. And Jason Kidd, too, I think has gotten a lot better as a coach. His first stint in Brooklyn, he's a train wreck, but he's done a really nice job, I think, with the Dallas team as well. And yeah, Boston, Tatum, Brown, when Porzingis healthy, they might, 1 through 10, they might, they probably have kind of the deepest team. But yeah, it's kind of for the Celtics team, if not this year, then when for Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, and you brought it up. Yeah, when for Tatum and Brown. I mean, Tatum is probably going to get a huge contract in a couple of years. Jaylen Brown got a huge contract last year. Yeah, it's really, when is it? Because since they've been together, this is their fifth. They know that the team's made six appearances in the conference championship game in the last 8 years. But this is with Tatum and Brown. This is the 7 years they've been together. This is their fifth time in the conference finals, and they've still not won a championship. So this is now or never. They got the best team. And a golden opportunity to win for both of them to win their first championship and for the organization to win number 18. But we'll start with the Celtics. What do they have to do to win this series? And number one for me, it's Tatum has got to be good late in games. That was kind of an issue at times in the postseason for him. And it was an issue in game one against the Pacers. Now, luckily, Rick Carlisle doesn't foul and Jaylen Brown bailed him out, but there's going to be situations in these finals where Tatum has got to make that big shot to win that game. He's got to do that because they're not going to. This is not the Heat without Jimmy Butler. This is not the Cavs. This is not the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell, and it's not the Indiana Pacers. These are the Dallas Mavericks. This is a team that won the Western Conference. This is a team that beat the number one seeded Oklahoma City Thunder, and this is a team that beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, who upset the Denver Nuggets. The Mavericks are a really good team with arguably the best player in the game. There's going to be times where Tatum is going to have to step up. So my number one key is Tatum has got to step up big late in games. Number two, contain Kyrie Irving. Because Luka Doncic is going to get his points. Luka Doncic is going to score his points. You know that's going to happen. But if the Celtics can contain Kyrie, and you know how hostile that crowd's going to be tomorrow night, you know how hostile it's going to be in Boston with him. Containing Kyrie Irving is a huge, huge key for the Celtics. If they can hold Kyrie Irving under 20 points in half the games, just like OKC did, they're going to have a very, very good chance to win this series. They're going to have a very good chance to win the series if they do that. And number 3, Jaylen Brown's just got to keep playing the way he is. Jaylen Brown's got to keep playing the way he's playing. If Tatum and Brown are great in the series, to me, there's no way the Celtics lose.
Yeah, like all 3 points you brought up, I have the same kind of one. I'll start off with the Kyrie. I have sell out to Celtics defense, sell out to Kyrie. As you mentioned, Luka's gonna get his points. He might steal a game or two in the series, for how good he is. But I thought the way Oklahoma City guarded him in that series, in the semifinal, in the Western Conference semifinals, they harassed him. They had the athletic perimeter defenders. They give him some problems, and headed into Game 6 of that series, he was averaging less than 15 points a game. Now, he had 7 assists he was averaging in that series. But, again, make the other guys kind of beat you, let the Derrick Joneses of the world, let P.J. Washington's knock down those shots, not let Kyrie go off. And Kyrie has not won Boston either since leaving the Celtics as well. So
really, I thought he won twice.
10, I thought.
I thought he won. He's over 10. No, I think he won one. Did he play in that Game 4 in 2021? He might. Because I think that was a game that he won, but I don't know if he played or not in that game.
Okay, I'll have to go back and look. But I thought I saw somewhere saying he was over for 10 since leaving. Well, maybe that he did win that one game. I forgot they did win a Game 4. But I'll have to go back and look. So for Kyrie, it'll be a hostile environment for him, and they can kind of keep Kyrie in check. They got a good shot. Number 2 is attack Luka on defensive end of the floor. Mentally and physically. He's not a great defender, as we all know. He's coming off that knee injury. With the week off, I assume he's probably close to 100%. Now, Boston doesn't have that quick athletic guard that can knock down shots that give him problems. But if you kind of switch, if you set some screens on whoever he's guarding and you make him go guard Brown or Tatum off screens or even a Derek White, they kind of try to, because he's a bigger guy, you kind of wear him down. Maybe that helps you late in the game as well. And then number 3 for me is a transition game for the Celtics, especially on the defensive end of the floor. They've done a really outstanding job of it most of the playoffs, besides the 2 games that they've lost. And that was kind of because the effort was inconsistent defensively, hot shooting. But Dallas will run selectively, and it's usually when Doncic or Irving kind of have a long court pass that they kind of see somebody get open before the defense really even kind of realize it's happening. So Boston 2's got to get back on defense. Don't let Dallas get some easy buckets in transition.
Yeah, those are definitely really, really good points for the Celtics. Yeah, and you brought up Luka, attacking Luka. Yeah, that's the one place where Luka. Yeah, that's the one place where Luka is weak in his game, is his defensive game. Now, luckily, the NBA is an offensive league, so that doesn't show up that often. But yeah, if the Celtics could attack him, that would be big for them. But now, going to what the Mavs have to do to win this series, and for me, the number one thing the Mavs have to do is they have Luka's got to be amazing. Luka has got to be amazing because they don't have the better team. The Celtics are the better overall team, but the Mavericks have the better overall player. But Luka has got to continue to be amazing. Luka's got to put up, I think, at least 20 points in every game for the Mavs to win this series. So, Luka has got to be amazing. That's number 1. Number 2, Kyrie has got to be Batman. Kyrie has got to be Robin. Kyrie has got to be the Robin. Kyrie has got to play the way he did in the conference finals. Like in 4 of the 5 games, Kyrie was great. He's got to continue to play great. He's got to continue to be Luka's second guy in this series. He's got to continue to be great. And if he can, the Mavs will definitely have a chance. And number 3, I'm saying P.J. Washington. P.J. Washington has got to get back to what he was at the beginning of that series against the Thunder. Because if P.J. Washington is that third scorer, they have a chance. They could have 3 scores that are on Washington, Kyrie, and Luka. They definitely have a chance to pull this upset. They definitely have a chance to pull the upset if PJ Washington steps up.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the same point as your first one as well. Like Luka, Luka's got to be the star. He's he's got to play like the best player in the world. He's the best individual player in this series. I assume now he's going to be, probably as close to healthy as he's been since the playoffs began. And because of that injury, he hasn't been at top level of his game most of the playoffs because of that knee injury. So he can probably go another level on the offensive side of the ball. And again, I wouldn't be shocked if he could steal a game or 2 by himself in the series for how good he is. Number 2 is the Celtics have not seen Dallas's length or athleticism that Dallas can be able to throw at them, and I think that's going to be bonus for them. Um, you know, again, Celtics, a lot of injuries from the Eastern Conference teams that they faced. Like they took care of their business, obviously. But PJ Washington 6'7", he's got a wingspan of 7'4". He's probably going to guard Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown in the series. And then Derek Jones Jr., he's an awesome run and jump athlete. And he brings some decent rim protection as well. And he closes out hard on his three pointers. And then you got two guys who could protect the rim. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. Both those guys are really good rim protectors. So Dallas can kind of do a lot of things that Boston hasn't seen this playoffs, which can maybe throw them for a loop. And then my third one is for the Mavericks, is get to the rim offensively. The Celtics are not a great rim protector team defensively. The Pacers got whatever they wanted. They shot over 50% in the paint that's in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, and Luka's a great finisher down low. His uniqueness with his size, he's heavily built. So, I think the Mavs could give the Celtics a lot of problems because I know Porzingis, he's okay, but like I don't, Porzingis is not great. So, and obviously Al Horford's not what he used to be defensively at all. So I think the Mavs too, if they can get to the basket, which they do a lot, and they're aggressive, I think it could be a real key for them in the series.
Now, sticking with the Mavs, the question is, and it's about Luka Doncic, is if the Mavs win it, if the Mavs win the NBA Finals, is Luka Doncic the best player in the league? And I would say yes. I would say yes, because if you compare him to Jokic, and if you would compare runs, like if Luka wins this championship, he would have beaten a Clipper team. Yes, they didn't have Kawhi for most of the series, but still they had Paul George and James Harden, even though James Harden is past his prime. But the three other rounds are totally impressive. If he wins this, he would beat an Oklahoma City team that had an MVP candidate in SGA. You beat a Minnesota team in 5 games, which there was a lot of talk after the Denver series that Anthony Edwards was the face of the league. So they would beat a Minnesota team in 5 games with an emerging superstar in Anthony Edwards, and then he would beat clearly the best team in the NBA, in the Boston Celtics. So if he wins this, I would say yes. Because if you look at Jokic's run last year, look at who Jokic beat last year. Minnesota wasn't even close to what they were this year. The second round, they beat Phoenix. Okay, I'll give them credit for beating Phoenix, but that Phoenix team hasn't turned out to be a great team with Kevin Durant. They beat LeBron and the Lakers, which were the 17, and they beat the 8 seed in Miami Heat. Yes, give them credit for getting to the finals, the 8 seed, but they're not as good as the Celtics are this year. So if Luka Doncic wins a championship, to me, he's definitely the best player in basketball.
Yeah, it's a unicorn. Yeah, and like that, you talk about the Mavericks run. All three of those teams so far have had 50 or more wins, and obviously the Celtics team's got 60, had more than 60 regular season wins. So, the impressive run that they've gone on. Luka's such a great scorer. He's a 3-level scorer. I hate the way he plays at times though, with the complaining. Like he's as bad as anybody. Again, and credit to him because he doesn't get teed up. Like everybody else does. Yeah. He doesn't get teed up because it's normal,
Yep.
So he gets away with it a lot. But which Boston fans too, when he, they're gonna be on top of him when he's booing, or when he's complaining. But yeah, he's just such a terrific scorer. And that is guard spot at like 6'7", and just the way he can kind of muscle other guards down low. Is something you just don't see either. So he's just a tough matchup because he's not the quickest guard, but when he's going downhill, he's gonna outmuscle you down low when he's got his matchup. So I think he's very unique in that aspect too, and he's a really good distributor as well. So if they win this thing, they knock off the Celtics team. I'd have to put him in front of Jokic.
Another thing, you look at the teams that they were on too. I mean, Luka has never had a his third best player has never been as good as Michael Porter Jr. in his entire time he's been playing in the league. The entire time he's been in Dallas, because when at the beginning of his career was Porzingis being a second best guy, and then right now it's Kyrie being the second best job. He's never had a third best player as good as Michael Porter Jr. or the fourth best player better than as good as Aaron Gordon. So I would definitely say it's Luka if he wins it, because if he wins it all, because if he wins it, if the Mavs win, he's probably going to be the Finals MVP.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Unless the Kyrie just goes absolute nuclear in the series, but Luka's probably going to win the MVP trophy in the Finals MVP trophy. For him, they went on that run a couple years ago, but him, they had Tim Hardaway was a decent guy this year. He's, the age is really showing. He hasn't really done much so far in this playoff. So yeah, he really hasn't had that number 2 yet. They haven't found that match. And last year they missed the playoffs too. Obviously they got Kyrie, but think they were both kind of injured. Like they didn't play a ton of games last year together. I felt like either. So yeah, him, Kyrie really fit. They've kind of fit the pieces together defensively, and yeah, they've just had him and Kyrie, and then it's kind of been PJ Washington, their third guy, and the other guy's kind of just doing enough here to and like Derrick Jones Jr. is a guy, UNLV. He was undrafted. The dude couldn't hit a shot outside of 5 feet, and
I know,
now he can hit a couple corner shots. So
I mean,
Derrick Jones
who's helping him hit those corner shots, Luka?
Yeah, Luka and Kyrie. Because they're taking the pressure off. So so like Derrick Jones has kind of got his game better. So yeah, like this Dallas team, they really fit the pieces. They found what worked for Luka, and it's worked for perfection. And they've been awesome since February.
Moving on to the Celtics now. If they win the finals, is Tatum clearly a top 5 player in the league? Because if you look at the top three guys in the league, it's obvious. I mean, it's Jokic, Luka, Giannis. Obvious those top 3. Then there's a little bit of a drop off. At number 4, I'd probably go Ant-Man. And then 5 is kind of open because you've seen KD falling off, LeBron falling off, Curry falling off. That 5th spot is open. And the big question is if Tatum wins the Celtics win this championship and Tatum has a big series, is he a top 5 player in the league? And I would say yes. If he wins this series and if he wins the Finals MVP, I probably got to put him in the top 5. I know it's debatable, but if he wins this series and he's the Finals MVP, I'm probably putting him in the top 5.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He won the title. That probably means too. If he wins the Finals MVP, he hit a couple shots late, clutch baskets. And Luke and Kyrie have been the best clutch offensive team all year. So to be able to knock them off, to be able to kind of pull out some games that are late, Jason Tatum's got to be kind of the anchor. So absolutely, again, his size at 6'8", he's struggled from 3 this postseason. I want to see him be really aggressive. Gets the basket in this series. I know it'll be tough with the way the Mavs played offensively and how good they've been. But yeah, he's got to be up there. He's won the title. He's a guy that's averaged like 25 points a game or more in his career. And yeah, it's kind of wide open right now. And if he gets that title, I think he definitely solidified himself being that top 5 spot.
Oh yeah, if he wins the no, the only way it wouldn't happen is say he wins the title and Jaylen Brown is a better series. Maybe you argue it there because you got a potential MVP candidate in SGA. You still got LeBron and Curry, so maybe you argue it if he doesn't win a championship. And again, people want to have this top 5 conversation. Don't talk about Embiid. Embiid is behind Tatum. He's behind Tatum clearly because Tatum has stepped up more in the postseason. But yeah, the only way I wouldn't say it is if he doesn't have a huge series and the Celtics win. I probably would say that. But if he's the MVP and the Celtics win the title, I probably got to put him in the top 5 temporarily because I think SGA is going to pass him in a year or 2.
Yeah, I could see it. SGA has been really good. That OKC team's young and maybe a little bit inexperienced this postseason. We'll see what happens next year. But yeah, Tatum's definitely would earn his spot there. He's been, in like the top 10. He's been knocking at the door for all these years, and this would finally be the time for him if he wins that final MVP to finally kind of be the, what we've all been kind of waiting for from him, to be the clutch performer that he can be, and that he can kind of come up in the clutch, hit a couple big shots for him, because he didn't do that really much in the Pacers. That was Jaylen Brown and Derek White had a couple big shots as well.
I mean, he had the big assist in Game 3 to Al Horford. I'll give him that. But yeah, he really hasn't hit that big shot late in the game.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he does. He does need that, And again, he probably gets that, if they win the finals, and gets an MVP, so he will get that. So, yeah, maybe SGA soon will catch him, but if he wins the title, he wins the Finals MVP. He's got to be in there.
Absolutely. And now we will talk about another big storyline going into the finals is the duo. The duo is between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. And the other question is which duo are you taking? Are you taking the duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, or are you taking the duo of Luka and Kyrie Irving? And I think it's close, but I'm taking the duo of Luka and Kyrie because if you're drafting all 4 of those players, you're at the schoolyard. You're playing basketball, pickup basketball, and you're drafting these 4 guys. I'm taking Luka 1, I'm taking Tatum 2, and I'm taking Kyrie 3. So I'm taking 2 of the 3 guys on the mat. I'm taking Tatum and Luka. I'm taking Luka and Kyrie 1 and 3 if I'm drafting those 4 guys. So I think for me it's Luka and Kyrie. It's Luka and Kyrie. And the biggest reason why they dominated the T-Wolves was because of Luka and Kyrie. So I'm taking Luka and Kyrie over Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, I would too. The only thing I would kind of make me hesitate is their defense. Both of them are not great defenders at all.
Yeah, but what is this league? What is this league?
Yes,
Teams average 115 points a game. This is an offensive league. I don't love hearing about defense. Both are 2 better offensive players.
They are. I like to see a little defense, a little bit. You don't have to be like the Timberwolves. Just give me a little bit. But yeah, and like in the big reason why I would take them too is how good they are in the clutch. Like that Timberwolves series, they've come up big. Brown did it. I haven't seen Tatum do it, but yeah, Jaylen Brown's been really good. But Kyrie, Luka, when the game's on the wire, I trust those 2 to make a big shot right now more than I trust Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. So that's why too I take Kyrie and Luka, as well, just how good they are towards the end of games, and they both have been here, or Luka's is his first time, but Kyrie, we've seen him win a title before, kind of being that number 2, and Luka, I have no doubts that the pressure's not gonna, this is not gonna phase them, they won't at all.
Yep. And say what you want about Kyrie, but he's a great number 2. He is a great number 2. I mean, being your number 1, it's a disaster. We saw it in Boston when he was number 1. We saw him try to be the leader of the Brooklyn Nets. Shame on Durant for allowing that to happen. We saw him try to be the leader of the Brooklyn Nets. That was a disaster. But when he took a step back, he became the number 2 again behind Luka, just like he was behind LeBron in 2016. It's worked out so well. It has worked out so well. Credit to Jason Kidd, credit to Luka, and credit to Kyrie for this working out the way it has.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kyrie, I think Kyrie had to figure out at some point that he can't keep getting away with all this and keep getting chances. And I wonder too, because you remember when he first got to Brooklyn, those Yes commercials, they had Kyrie talking about how he grew up a Nets fan and, he wanted to bring a title. I wonder too, because Jason Kidd obviously was a Net. He probably looked up the Kid. And it's probably one of those things
Absolutely. That's a great point. I think he definitely looked up to Jason Kidd, and I actually talked to somebody who's around the NBA, and he told me on Saturday the biggest reason why this has worked in Dallas is because of Jason Kidd.
That makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense because he's really, you don't hear anything about it. You don't hear anything about Kyrie. When again, we shouldn't forget all the kind of stuff he said. Like he's said a lot of controversial things over the years, but when he's in the right mindset, when he's kind of focused on basketball and he's on the floor, he's unbelievable. He's one of the better guards handling wise. He'll hit the big shots for you. So yeah, he's a guy that like Jason Kidd, some people probably idolize, and I think he's absolutely had a big impact on why Kyrie's really seems like he's been in the right mindset right now and has been on the top of his game, and it's really been beneficial because everything happened in Brooklyn, the things that happened in Boston, the way it ended in Cleveland with him. He's all really burnt bridges, and right now in Dallas, he'll be a hero down there if they win this title. Him and Luka.
Absolutely. Now to wrap up, we'll give our prediction on the finals, and you got the best team against arguably the best player, but history has shown us in the NBA that it's hard to win a title without a top 5 player, and right now, the Celtics don't, even how great the Celtics are, they don't have a top 5 player. The Mavs do. Really, in the last, 30, 35 years, I think 2 teams have won a championship without a top 5 player. That's the Pistons in 2004 and the Spurs in 2014. And this is why I'm going with the Mavs. I'm going with the Mavs in 6 because I can rely on Luka to be great every single game, and I can rely on Luka to be great at the end of every game. And that I know the Celtics are the better team, but the difference maker to me in this series is going to be Luka Doncic. And that's why I think he brings a championship home to Dallas and becomes the best player in the league. I am going with the Mavs in 6 over the Celtics.
I am Mavs in 7. I'm taking them too. And I think they're the tougher team than Boston. No offense to Boston. The 45 threes, they team to settle at times. Can Joe Mazzulla, drop a good play towards an end of the game, better than, what Kyrie or Luka are going to be able to get. The Mavs are 7-2 on the road this postseason. I know the Boston's been unbelievable on the road as well. They haven't lost on the road. But Boston's struggled a bit at home at times in the postseason. We've seen that the last couple of years. So I think Dallas, I don't think they're going to be afraid of this. I think, the way they could guard defensively down low, I think is going to be key. And I trust Luka and Kyrie with the ball in their hands for a final shot them right now. I do Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, and I think the Mavs pull this thing off in 7 games.
Yeah, it's going to be a great series. Yeah, I got the Mavs. You got the Mavs. It should be an awesome series between these two teams. I'm really excited. It all begins tomorrow night. It all begins tomorrow night between the Celtics and the Mavericks. So it should be a great series. But we are going to shift over to the NFL, and on Monday, the Vikings and Justin Jefferson agreed to a new deal, 4 years, 140 million, 110 million guaranteed, 35 million a year, the highest paid non-quarterback in the league. And I think the Vikings had to make this move. The Vikings had to do this because you got a young quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. What are you going to do? You're going to trade away your best weapon? No. You got to keep your best weapon there. I mean, outside of Patrick Mahomes, all of these quarterbacks need a top guy to succeed. Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase, Lamar Jackson. I'll get Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he hasn't had a top guy either. I'll put Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes in that group. But outside of that, they all need a top guy. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. You got Josh Allen before he had Stephon Diggs. He wasn't that great. We had Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Dak Prescott, C.D. Lamb. We'll get to that too. So you need to have that top guy. You need to have that guy that's going to make it work. And for J.J. McCarthy, a young quarterback, he needs a guy like Justin Jefferson, especially to start his career.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Jefferson's been at an unbelievable career so far. He's been right there, the conversation as top wide receivers and stepping in, coming to the league. And yeah, you're absolutely right. For JJ to kind of have the most success, you got to have a guy like Justin Jefferson on the field with him, because it's going to make the transition a little bit easier. And you can do this, and you can pay Justin Jefferson all this money because your quarterback right now is on that rookie deal. So it's a massive contract. It's the highest paid non-quarterback contract out there at the moment. So he's definitely deserved it. Another big contract going out to those 2019 LSU Tigers, and Jamar Chase will get one soon too. Just how dominant that team was.
Jamar Chase should definitely be getting one soon. He should definitely. Yeah. You'll be seeing that. He'll be seeing him getting a contract worth up to 35 or 36 million very soon. But here's the thing for the Vikings. Here's the thing for JJ McCarthy. I think the Vikings are going to know if McCarthy's the guy by Thanksgiving of 2025. Not this year, but next year. They're definitely going to know, because look at the guys that he has around him. And look at the guys he's going to have on his team in the next 2 years. You got the best receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson. You got a good number 2 in Jordan Addison. You got one of the best tight ends in the league in TJ Hawkinson. And you got one of the best left tackles. You have one of the best left tackles in football in Christian Darrisaw. So they're going to know. They're going to know very, very early on if the Vikings have their guy. They will know by Thanksgiving, and he's got an offensive coach in Kevin O'Connell. So they will know by Thanksgiving of 2025 if they have their guy or not.
Yeah, absolutely. They will. He's a guy that he played a good amount of football in Michigan. I know, he's won a title. He didn't have to make a ton. He made some big throws in the Alabama game, in the semifinal game. But other than that, we haven't, we haven't seen him have to go out there and throw 40 passes in a game like this. Be interesting. He's not going to have that running game like he had at Michigan. The offensive line's going to be, a bit better this year was last year, but Michigan's offensive line was unbelievable, one of the better offensive lines we've seen. So yeah, you will know in a year and a half, and it's going to be a lot different for him. But yeah, it's going to help to have a Kevin O'Connell. It's going to help that he's got the weapons that he does. But yeah, we're going to see him now in a lot more games where he's going to be in one-score games in the fourth quarter. Can he make that big throw? And yeah, we're going to find that out in the next year and a half if he can do that or not.
The big question for him is, too, do you start J.J. McCarthy week 1 in New York against the Giants? I think you start him right away. Because if you look at this team, this roster on offense, with Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator, they got a decent defense. I think this team, this is a better team than what C.J. Stroud had last year in Houston. J.J. McCarthy doesn't need to be as good as C.J. Stroud for the Vikings to get to the playoffs. I think you start J.J. McCarthy right off the bat. I think he's in a good situation because with Sam Darnold, you know you're not winning anything with Sam Darnold. I think you start J.J. McCarthy right off the bat.
Yeah, I go back and forth on this. I kind of want to see Sam Darnold go up against the Jets week 5. I do want to see that. I do want to see the revenge
I don't
game,
think he's making it to week 5. I don't think he's making it to week 5.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be tough to do that, but yeah, because like we know what Sam Darnold is, like where the Patriots with Brissett, it's like I get where Brissett could win you a game or two. Like he's not, he can give you a couple good weeks. I don't know if Darnold could do that. Maybe his offense Darnold could, but the J.J. McCullough off the camps and he looks good in the preseason and making the right reads then and kind of got a good grasp of the playbook, then absolutely, throw him out there. You got the Giants week 1. Week 2 is going to be tough because you do have a really good 49ers defense you're going to have to go up against. Texans defense not bad.
The thing is once if they start 0-2, he's definitely going to be in there, especially with that roster. You got to at least split, or you got to at least be 1-1 after 2 weeks. Especially with the talent he has. If Darnold is 0-2, they're taking him out immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Giants. That game's gonna. I think that game's like a pick 'em right now. That game could definitely go either way. The Niners at home is probably not gonna be a win. Texans at home is gonna be a difficult one, but yeah, if they can somehow steal against the Giants, Niners, you're in decent shape early on. But yeah, if they go into a Darnold, absolutely J.J. McCarthy's coming to week 3 to face the Texans. I'd be very surprised that didn't happen. With O'Connell, yeah, I think he'll make the right decision with this, and we'll kind of know when he feels like McCarthy's kind of ready and if he's ready to start week 1 or not.
Yeah, exactly. I think they should just go with him week 1. He's got good enough weapons. It's not like a situation you got with your team in New England where you probably have to sit maybe a couple weeks because you don't want him to completely lose his confidence. He's in a J.J. McCarthy with an offensive coach with good weapons is in a position to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. He's probably in the best seat of all the rookie quarterbacks.
He is, and here's the reason why. A lot of people are going to say Caleb Williams. Here's why I'm not going to say Caleb Williams. If he struggles a little bit and Matt Eber and they're under 500, Matt Eberflus has got to probably get fired. And you don't know if they're going to keep Shane Waldron. They might have an entire new coaching staff next year. I don't think no matter what happens this year, I think Kevin will be the coach next year. So I think he is in the best situation of any rookie quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think for Caleb too, he's walking into Chicago with a ton of expectations. Like right off the bat, like it's kind of like you got to make the wild card this year. It's all the wild card talk, and then the thing is too, the Bears have never had that franchise quarterback, so like now it's like Caleb Williams is the guy. Like he's finally going to be what we've been looking for the last 35 years. So there's a ton of pressure on him to go in there, and yeah, it's a solid roster. But yeah, what McCarthy's walking into with the weapons he has, hopefully the run game could be a little bit better than it was last year. Hopefully Aaron Jones can kind of help that out. And yeah, with a guy like Kevin O'Connell that's going to be there for the next couple of years, you think. And yeah, and Eberflus in Chicago, which, yeah, if they don't make the playoffs, he's gone. And you would think they probably go offensive minded, which could maybe help Caleb, but that definitely depends. The Bear, we'll see what the Bears do there. But yeah, JJ McCarthy's definitely stepping in the right situation and the best situation right now. All the rookies.
He definitely is. And now this leads me to CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys. And what does this mean for CeeDee Lamb? And I think let's be real. The Cowboys should have extended CeeDee Lamb last year. He was extension eligible. They would have got him maybe at 26 to 28 million. Now they're going to have to pay him. The Cowboys have just botched everything between CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. They've botched both those contract situations. They had a guy who led the league in touchdown passes. They still haven't given an extension to. And now CeeDee Lamb, they should have given him an extension last year and they didn't. I think he's getting 36 million. I think the Cowboys will who knows if the Cowboys are going to do it because they have to pay Dak, they got to pay Parsons, and now they got to pay him, and the receivers third between the edge rusher and the quarterback. But I think eventually, whenever Team CD gets on, I think it will probably be the Cowboys. Whatever Team CD gets on, he's going to get 35, 36 million.
Yeah, which I kind of feel like a lot like the other, like I feel Justin Jefferson's kind of more on kind of different level than CD. Like I think CD, like I won't be surprised if the Cowboys give him 35, 36. I think he should get more of what like a Jalen Waddle gets and a Amar St. Brown of 20 to 30.
There. Good point. Yeah, good point.
But I wouldn't be shocked because Jerry's been very quiet this offseason. I don't know where Jerry's at. I don't know if he's during the time.
Said they were going to be all in. Said they were going to be all in. They didn't do anything. Didn't do much in free agency at all. They haven't extended CD. They haven't given Parsons the big deal. They haven't extended Dax. They really have been very quiet.
Yeah, they have. Dak's kind of Dak, CD. So yeah, right now Dallas, a lot of question marks going on right now, and maybe the Mavericks, are taking some of the heat away right now. From the Cowboys, I don't know, but yeah, CD, yeah, they definitely shouldn't have done this last year because you got kind of got him on the cheaper, but yeah, now you're looking at maybe he's gonna want more, and we'll see. And I don't think he should get paid 35, 36, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's what the Cowboys got to get to keep him.
Yeah, exactly. So we got one of the biggest series of the year in baseball between the Dodgers and Yankees. But before we talk about that, we are going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All right, the Yankees are having a great year so far. They got a huge series this weekend against the Dodgers. The Dodgers come into the Bronx in first place in the NL West. Yankees come into this series as the best team in the American League and in the American League East. And this should be a really interesting series between these two teams. You'll be at the game on Saturday, so you will be seeing
Gavin
Stone against Cortez. Gavin Stone's pretty well for the Dodgers. But we'll get into the game on Friday. Between what's his name?
Yamamoto.
No, the guy for the Yankees.
Petit
against Yamamoto. And I do think the Dodgers win that one, but I think the Yankees win the Saturday game, and I think the way Luis Gil's pitching, they win the Sunday game. I think they take 2 out of 3 in this series. I think they do. I think the Yankees are playing really well right now, and I think they take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think so too. Dodgers, that bottom of the order of the lineup, like 6 through 9 are now really struggling. So if you can get the top 5 out, you're in pretty good in position. So yeah, I expect the Yankees to win 2 out of 3. Yes, Friday night's probably gonna be a tough one. Petit. He did pitch bad Sunday, and then the way he was pitching, he was awesome again. And who would have thought at the beginning of the year that he would be in in the position to maybe win Cy Young and maybe start the American League and the All-Star game. So yeah, he's been unbelievable. So I expect the
Crazy.
Yankees to take 2 out of 3.
Crazy. He was supposed to be the replacement for Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
He's pitching to an ERA under 2 in the Cy Young conversation. Amazing. And Garrett Cole's on his way back because he had a rehab start yesterday for Somerset.
I did watch some of that. He looked good.
Nice.
Throwing 97, 98.
Nice. But
so
yeah,
Snapple looked good.
But go back to Luis Heel. He's been outstanding. He's been outstanding to start the year. By far the biggest surprise for the Yankees this year.
Oh yeah, he's been unbelievable. When control could be an issue with him at times, but yeah, when he's throwing strikes, he's throwing hard. His stuff moves across the zone really, really well, and he's been tough to hit. And to have a sub-2 ERA right now, the 85 strikeouts so far. His stuff is just so electric, and he's been tough to hit, and he's been. You kind of saw flashes of this a couple years ago, you saw that he's got really good stuff. Obviously, at the Tommy John, the control thing has been, the issue with him at times. But he's been unbelievable, and I know they just lost Schmidt because it was like they can go the 6-man when Cole gets back. But Heel's been awesome. He's been a revelation, and again, that whole rotation. Rodon's been a lot better. He's got a under 2 ERA at home this year, and then Stroman's been a really nice pickup too. I was questionable about that one, but he's been a nice addition as well.
He definitely has. He definitely has a pitching spin. Really, everything's been great. That's why the Yankees have the record they have. Everything's been great. And this leads me to my next point. Between the Yankees and Dodgers, which team do you think has a better chance to win the World Series this year? And this is a tough question. And I'm not saying this because I do think the Yankees are a little bit better than the Dodgers. Record-wise, I think their team's a little bit better. But I'm going to take the Dodgers, and here's why. The National League's not as good, and you know for sure the Dodgers are going to win that division. They're going to win the NL West. The Dodgers are going to win their division. The Yankees, you don't know that because the second best team in the American League, the Orioles, is right behind them. They're 2.5 games behind them. And the Yankees lost 3 out of 4 to the Orioles when they played this year. So I think it's going to be the Dodgers just because they're going to have an easier road. The Dodgers are going to have an easier road. There's still a chance for as well as this Yankee team's been playing. There is still a chance that they could be a wild card.
Yeah, they absolutely could, especially if Baltimore goes out and go gets a closer with all the minor league talent that they have. That's a very easy possibility. But I'm taking the Yankees because the Dodgers have an easy road, but they have stumped their toes so many times in the first round, and that I just don't trust them. And look, I know their rotation's starting to get a bit healthy, but Buehler hasn't been great. He's been a guy that's been injured a lot. Glasnow too, can he make 30 starts for you? You really can't count on Kershaw. Can you count on Kershaw to be healthy in October? What's his rotation gonna look like when we get to October? Again, they'll probably make an addition or two, but right now, I just don't like the bottom 3-4 of their lineup, and I think that could hurt him. Like Chris Taylor's batting 100. Gavin Lux, one of their top prospects the last couple of years, he's only batting 200. So I think that could really cost them. And National League's tough. The Phillies are really good. I won't count out the Braves. We'll see what else happens. But in the American League, outside of Baltimore, Cleveland, I'm a little bit scared of because they gave the Yankees a good 5-game series a couple years ago. But outside of that, it's like a Yankees-Orioles collision course, and that'd be a tough series. But that's what the Yankees got to go through. The Dodgers have to go through Philly, which that's not an easy ballpark to go to Philly and go win a big game 6 or 7. I know Arizona did it last year, but it'd be tough to do that 2 years in a row.
And you got a good point because the Phillies are going to be motivated. If they have to play the Dodgers in the NLCS, they got home field. They got game 6 or 7. They're going to be motivated now. After what happened last year, they're going to be motivated to get the job done there. But I just think it's the Dodgers because the NL it's just not as deep. It's just not as deep as the American League. As I said, and you say the Dodgers have stubbed their toe a lot. When was the last time the Yankees made the World Series? 2009.
That's a good point.
And the Dodgers have won a championship. Let's not forget. I know it was the COVID year, but the Dodgers have won a championship. And they've been to the World Series 2 other times with Dave Roberts. How many times have the Yankees been to the World Series there in Boone? 0.
That's a good point. But the Astros and the Red Sox have been their 2 kryptonites over the years. The Astros will not be there this year. Red Sox might be, but this Yankee team better be the Red Sox team in a postseason series. Because
they're definitely a better team than the Red Sox.
I feel good. I don't think Houston's making the playoffs this year. They just had 2 of their stars go Tommy John, so I'm counting out the Astros. So you don't have to go through them. which that's been their huge kryptonite over the years. You could get the Twins again, which that'd be very nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get the
Wish you
Twins.
could play them.
It'd be nice to get the Twins or even the Guardians in the play.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of teams that the Yankees can beat in the postseason. My fear about the Yankees is they've never gone to a World Series. Aaron Boone is their manager. And the other thing is they could be playing in a best-of-3 wildcard series, which the Dodgers are not going to be playing in.
No, but see, part of it too is, does having the bye hurt you?
That's a good
really
point.
Like
That's a good point. The Dodgers the last 2 years had hurt them, and you see a team like the Phillies, they didn't have a bye, and the Diamondbacks didn't have a bye, and they both got to the NLCS, and the Diamondbacks got to the World Series, and the Rangers didn't have a bye either.
The
so
Rangers, yeah.
you're making good points there with the bye.
Yeah, like is it that beneficial? Like it possibly could be. I just they're not used to having 4 or 5 days off during the regular season, and then you got to just turn it right back on, and it's tough. So. Yeah, you would like it to set up your rotation, but sometimes it does cost you because you already kind of have momentum going into that next year. So, yeah, sometimes it could hurt. I think it all kind of depends on the situation. Thing is with Boone, and this team just feels like I know 2 years ago
I've heard this a lot with this team feels different. I've heard this a lot. I heard it 2 years ago, and what happened? But Soto does make the difference. Yes. I'll give you that.
But I also think the way Boone's managing, because look at Sunday. They went 7-2 on this road trip. They were already 6-2. Sunday would have been a game last year, 2 years ago. They would have punted. Let's give everybody a day off. They come back, they play everybody, and they come back in the ninth inning. Like, I think they're more fun. Like, they're better in the base paths. Verdugo's brought. They haven't had a left fielder since Gardner was here. Like, they finally have a left fielder. So, yeah, like, I know. It feels different. Like, this team is a lot more enjoyable. The starting pitching has been unbelievable. And it's not all Aaron Judge. Like, Aaron Judge carried that team 2 years ago. I know Judge's been on a tear, but Soto's been there. Volpe's been great because he's got Judge and Soto behind him. And I think that helps hugely. And then I think it helps Stan, too, because there's been a little bit of pressure now that he's got Soto there, too. Glaber's got to get going. He hit a home run last night. But there's a part of me that really feels like this team's different. And part of it too is because we don't have to worry about the Astros either. I'm convinced we're not going to worry about them this year.
Yeah, it's a good point there. It's a good point. It's close, but I just think it's the Dodgers because they just have a little bit of an easier road. But we'll see it. Both teams have a great chance. Both teams have a great. This might not be the only time we see them play this year. Both teams have a great chance to be meeting up at the end of October. But speaking of Judge and Soto and going into the series against Ohtani, another question is out of those 3 guys, who are you taking? If you're going to have one guy, Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, who would you want on your team? Who are you taking? That's a brutal question because these might be the top 3 players in the entire game. It's so hard. I'm gonna go Ohtani just because he can do both. He can pitch and he can hit. I'd probably go Ohtani, but that is no indictment on Judge and Soto because those guys right now are probably 1 and 2 in AL for the AL MVP this year.
Yeah. If you're taking account Ohtani as a pitcher and hitter, you got to take him, I think, over Judge and Soto because those two don't obviously pitch. And Ohtani does them both at a very high level. If I was just taking them all as a hitter or all as kind of a position player, I'd take Aaron Judge. But if you're counting both, I got to go Ohtani. Just because he does both at such a high premium level. And he's just such a unique talent. And yeah, he's a special player, and he's a unicorn. We haven't seen this since Babe Ruth. So yeah, both. I think out of the 3 of them, it's tough, but I got to go Ohtani for counting both pitching and hitting.
Yeah, and even though he's not pitching this year, just the pitching, the hitting, how versatile he is. Like Judge and Soto are outstanding players. We've never seen a player like Shohei Ohtani since Babe Ruth.
Yeah, and Babe Ruth stopped halfway through his career, I believe it was, pitching too. So Ohtani's seems like he's planning on doing his whole career too. So yeah, Ohtani's got, and again, if he does and he continues to do it at such a high level like he is, he's by far going down as the best baseball player of all time because this isn't normal. So, I think out of the 3 of them, it's tough, but you got to take Ohtani.
Yeah, I definitely would take Ohtani. Now, we will wrap up talking about the Stanley Cup final between the Oilers and the Panthers. Now, we definitely have the best player in hockey with the Oilers with Connor McDavid against the best team this year in the Florida Panthers. And I think this is going to be a really good series between them two. The Panthers, I mean, they play. So one thing about the Panthers, which is they won 3 games at TD Garden, and then they won those 2 games at Madison Square Garden. They win the big games on the road. But the thing about the Panthers, though, is they don't have the ring. They don't have the ring. The Oilers have the best player in the series. And we'll start with the Oilers, Justin. What do they have to do to get Connor McDavid his first Stanley Cup?
For the Oilers to pull this thing off, Skinner's got to continue to play like he has the last couple of games. Last week, he was not, he started to play a little bit better in that start series. He got benched against Vancouver. They brought him back, and again, Florida's going to bring relentless pressure on you at the net. We saw it in the Rangers series. They're going to keep coming at you. The way they forecheck, they're gonna win a lot of those battles. So, again, he was unbelievable on what was it? Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night. The game 6 was 33 shots he saved, and the Oilers had 9. They had 10 shots all game. And it was a few shots ever in a series clincher like in the NHL playoffs. So he's got to play well yet again at the top of his game. He's got to play at the level of Bobrovsky to win, because he's going to face a lot of shots again. Number 2 for them is converting the special teams. Every series this far in the postseason, the winner has won every special team battle. We saw with the Panthers. Panthers did a great job against the Rangers power play. They really could not get much going. Edmonton's power play has been unbelievable in the playoffs, and they were great against the Stars power play. They held the Stars. They're 0-16 in that series. The Oilers defense is starting to play a lot better. They're going to have to play well in the series as well. They're going to have to play well in the special teams, convert when they got the power play, shut down the Panthers when they can, when they're on the kill. Then my third one is the depth guys got to score in the series. Florida just plays with that physicality, and you saw the Panthers shut down that Rangers top line that whole series. None of them could get anything going. Again, McDavid and Draisaitl are so good. They're going to get some points. They're going to get some goals, But it says like line 3, even if you can get a goal or 2 from your line 4, I think it would be crucial, because it is going to be tough, and it's going to be a long 6-game, 7 series. It's going to be tough for McDavid and Draisaitl to do it all. They got to rely on those other lines to do it. And just one thing on Edmonton too, and just the way they started out this year. So I know I told you off the air last week. So they're 3-9-3 when they fired their head coach, Chris Knobloch, who came in, the Hartford Wolfpack former coach. They were 46-18-5 with them, including a 16-game winning streak, which was one shy of the all-time record by the Penguins in 93. So 92-93. So Chris Knobloch's coming in and done a phenomenal job. I did like him in Hartford. Like, that team in Hartford hadn't been good in 8-9 years, and they got the playoffs last year. And I thought they were not good last year. It was a goalie, and I thought coaching kind of got them in the spot they were last year. So Knobloch's done everything right, and he's done a really good job of getting this team to be more defensive mentality. So Knobloch's been an outstanding job, and I don't think he might win Coach of the Year, but he's going to be at least in the top 3, I would think.
Yeah, he's done a really good job with the Oilers, getting them to the Stanley Cup final. Now for the Panthers, what do they have to do to have a different result from last year in the Stanley Cup final?
For them, they got more depth than the Oilers. The Panthers got 8 forwards who have 45 points or more this season. That includes the playoffs. The Oilers have 6, and when McDavid or Draisaitl did not score a goal this year, they lost 24 of the 35 games the Oilers did. So for them, the Panthers got the depth. They can roll the 3 or 4 lines out there, and you saw those guys can go out there. They can score. They're going to be, they're going to be good on the forecheck. Number 2 is for the Panthers getting out in front. They're 42-0-3 when leading after 2 periods this year. That includes the playoffs. That's their style. Like, they wear the opponents down, and they've been really good in close games. Being out in front, they're 17-5 in one goal games. Yeah, 17-5 in 1 goal games the last 2 postseasons. So they're really, really good in that area of winning the close games. They're gonna wear you down. So if they get out of front, it's gonna be tough for the Oilers to kind of come back and win games. My third one is the Panthers got to stay out of the box. The Oilers are 37% so far in the postseason on the power play. It's hard enough slowing down McDavid and Draisaitl 5-on-5, but when you give them a 5-on-4, it's even tougher. You're just asking for trouble. So I know the Panthers did a really outstanding job so far in the playoffs, but McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are 2 of the best players in all of hockey. They're electric. It's great that they're finally getting their moment here in the playoffs. So can't give Edmonton opportunities there on the power play to get a goal or 2.
Now, speaking of McDavid, speaking of Connor McDavid being in the Cup final, how big is it for the NHL that Connor McDavid is in the Stanley Cup final?
I think it's huge because he's such an electrifying player. Like, you know, he's just so quick with the puck and some of the moves he has, and he's such a great passer. Like, he only had 32 goals this year, but he had 100 assists. You know, this so far in the postseason, he's only got a handful of goals, but he's got like 25 assists. So he's such a great passer as well. And then you put like a Draisaitl with him next to, you know, they got Zach Hyman, who had a really good year. I think he had close to 50 goals. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins as well. So I think for McDavid, it's huge because he's such a spectacular player. He's so unique with the speed, with the puck. And again, he makes everyone else around him better, you know, because you got to pay so much attention when he's got the puck, and it opens things up for other guys. So I think it's huge for hockey. I think it's great that they're finally there because something too early on in the postseason, the NHL does a horrible job of marketing their start. Like,
they do. It's worse than baseball.
Yeah, it's bad. Like, there's Sunday games, I think against Vancouver, they start them at 10 o'clock. It's like, it's a Sunday. Get McDavid on like 3 o'clock on ABC.
It's got to be 3 o'clock ABC.
Yeah.
McDavid's got to be the 3 o'clock game on it. You cannot be having Connor McDavid, your biggest star in the sport, being at 10 o'clock. No, you got to have Connor McDavid in a 3:30 game.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they don't do that. And again, maybe that's not on Bettman, that's on the TV networks, but you know, they got to do a better job early on. So like, now that you could see McDavid front center, it's 8 o'clock, you know, you're going to be able to watch him. I think it's going to be huge for the sport because he's definitely, I think, maybe a casual, you don't get into it much, maybe just watch Stanley Cup final. McDavid's the guy that you're going to want to go back and like, you're going to want to go and continue kind of follow the Oilers and continue like next year, try to watch some of the games when they're on because he is that exciting to watch.
Oh, he definitely is. He definitely is. He is really, really exciting to watch. And now going to our series prediction. I'll start with you, Justin. Does McDavid get his first cup? Does McDavid hoist the Stanley Cup? Or do the Panthers avenge what happened last year in the Stanley Cup? What happens?
I got the Panthers at 6. You know, 2 years ago, they won the President's Cup. Tampa knocked them on the first round. Last year against Vegas, they lost in 5, but they had 13 guys that were either not playing because of injuries or they're trying to gut through it. Like, they were just so
that's the thing. Last year they were big. They barely made the playoffs. And they had that huge upset. They shocked everyone, beat the Bruins.
Yeah. And then they just had so many injuries against Vegas that they just had nothing left in the tank. And I think a lot of these guys too are about to be free agents. So I think this is kind of like their last kind of chance. And Matthew Tkachuk has been a great addition from Calgary. That entrance going to Edmonton there because Calgary, Edmonton, they don't like each other very much. So they know him very well, and you know he'll cross the line at times. So I think Florida, it gets them at 6. I just think their physicality, I think, is going to wear Edmonton down, and I think they get them at 6. And you know, interesting too. I know they travel, you know, charters and all that, but it's an 8-hour plane flight from Miami to Edmonton. Like, it's a long travel.
The distance is crazy between the two cities.
Yeah, like it's got to be the 4 North American sports. So maybe that has maybe a little bit of effect, but I just think Florida just wears them down. I think, you know, you saw with the Rangers series, you know, Rangers did what they could, but their physicality just took over, and I think the same's gonna happen in this series.
I'm going with the Oilers. I usually don't go with the best player over the best team in hockey, but I'm going with the Oilers because I think with McDavid and Draisaitl, they clearly got the 2 best players in the series. Their goalie is playing well. And I think it's a psychological factor. I think if this series is close, last year is going to get in the Panthers' heads, and I think they're going to struggle again in the Stanley Cup. I'm gonna go with the Oilers here. I'm going to go with the Oilers to bring home Canada's first Stanley Cup in over 30 years.
Yeah,
I got them in 6. I got them in 6.
That'd be awesome for that country, man. They've been craving it, and you know, first one since 06, that crazy run they had as an 8 seed. So for them to get there, and I don't know, you talk about experience. I don't know if you heard what Knobloch said yesterday. He said, "What experience do for the Buffalo Bills?"
Yeah, so, that's a good one. That's a good one there.
You know, so Edmonton's kind of going that mindset, I think, of hey, you know, care, you know, they can't. So we'll see. McDavid, I guess, you know, him and Draisaitl hate losing more than like winning. So those two being me driven by you know, wanting to get this thing done for that entire country.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if Edmonton can bring it home. But that is going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin and Alfred, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, and the first series between the Yankees and Red Sox. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.